You're not naturally quiet. You were trained to be. Think about it. Really think. There was a time you didn't hesitate like this. A time when you spoke without replaying every word in your head first. When you didn't sit there analyzing how you sounded, how you looked, how people might react. You just spoke. You didn't feel that tight pressure in your chest. You didn't feel your mind go blank the moment attention shifted toward you. You didn't feel like your words had to be perfect just to be accepted. So what changed? When did your voice start feeling risky? When did speaking stop feeling natural and start feeling like something you had to survive? Because now it's different. Now you think before you speak. Then you think again and again until the moment passes and you say nothing at all. You tell yourself, it's not important. It's probably better if I stay quiet. I'll just avoid the awkwardness. But later, it lingers. You replay the moment in your head, what you could have said, what you should have said, how different it might have been if you just spoke. And this doesn't happen once. It happens in conversations, in groups, around people who seem more confident, more certain, more heard. You shrink. Not because you have nothing to say, but because something inside you stops you. Something learned. Because nobody is born like this. No one starts life afraid of their own voice. No one starts life believing their thoughts don't matter. That gets taught. Slowly, quietly, over time. Maybe it was the moment you spoke and got laughed at, or when someone cut you off, like what you were saying didn't matter. Maybe you were told to be quiet, or made to feel like you were too much, or not enough. And your mind remembered. And your mind remembered, not as a clear memory, but as a feeling, a signal, a warning. Speak, and something might go wrong. So without realizing it, you started choosing silence. Not because it felt good, but because it felt safer. And the more you chose it, the more it became you. Until one day, you stopped seeing it as something you learned and started calling it your personality. I'm just a quiet person. That's just how I am. But is it? Or is it something you adapted to? Something you repeated? Something that slowly became automatic? Because the truth is, your silence has a story, a beginning, a reason. And the scariest part, you don't even remember when it started. Because somewhere along the way, your brain learned that speaking up comes with a cost. Not a loud, obvious cost. Not something you could clearly point to. But small moments. Quiet moments. The kind that don't seem important at the time, but stay with you anyway. A look. A laugh. A sudden silence after you said something. Maybe someone interrupted you, and no one noticed you were still talking. Maybe you shared an idea, and it got brushed aside, like it didn't matter. Maybe you opened up once, just once, and it didn't land the way you hoped. And in that moment, you felt it. That small drop in your chest. That heat in your face. That urge to pull back and never feel that again. Rejection, even in the smallest form. Embarrassment, even if no one else remembers it. ignored, like your voice just disappeared into the room. Your mind paid attention to all of it. Not loudly, not all at once, but quietly, in the background. It started connecting dots. Speaking up leads to discomfort. Being seen leads to risk. Using your voice might lead to something going wrong. So it adjusted. Not to help you shine, but to help you avoid that feeling. And the next time you had something to say, you paused a little longer. You thought a little harder. You held back just a little. And nothing bad happened. No awkward silence, no strange looks, no chance of getting it wrong. So your mind took note of that too. Stay quiet, stay safe. And without realizing it, that lesson started to repeat. Again and again and again. Until it wasn't a choice anymore. Now, it happens automatically. You don't even notice the moment you stop yourself. You don't notice the exact second your thoughts get filtered, edited, reduced, or completely silenced. It just feels natural. Like, that's just who you are. But it's not random. It's not something you were born with. It's something that was built slowly, over time, through moments you barely remember, but feelings you never really forgot. And now, without realizing it, you choose silence. Even when you have something to say, even when your voice matters, even when a part of you wants to speak, something inside you quietly says, don't. And you listen. You're in a conversation, and something comes to your mind. It's a simple thought. A good one, actually. You could add something, ask something, maybe even make the moment better. Your mouth almost opens, but then you hesitate. It's subtle, so fast you barely notice it. Your mind steps in. You replay the sentence once, twice, 3 times. You adjust a word, then another. Then you wonder if the whole thing even makes sense. What if it sounds stupid? What if they look at me weird? What if I say it wrong? Now, the moment is still moving. People are talking, reacting, laughing, and you're still in your head. By the time you're ready, it's gone. The topic changed, the energy shifted, your chance passed. So you stay quiet. You nod, maybe smile, pretend you didn't really have anything to say. But you did. And later, it comes back. You think about it again. Not the conversation, but your silence. What you could have said. How it would have sounded. How natural it actually was. Once it was too late. And this doesn't just happen once. It happens in meetings. When you have an idea, but someone louder speaks first. You sit there, listening, thinking, I was going to say that. But you didn't. It happens around confident people. The ones who speak without pausing, who don't seem to question themselves the way you do. You compare. You shrink a little. You convince yourself they're better at this than me. So you say less. It even happens with friends. People you're comfortable with. People you trust. You want to share something, but you hold it back. You don't want to interrupt. You don't want to shift the mood. You don't want to say the wrong thing and change how they see you. So again, you stay quiet. And the strange part is, from the outside, it looks normal. No one sees the battle in your head. No one hears the sentences you almost said. No one knows how many times you stopped yourself in just one conversation. All they see is silence. And over time, that silence starts to define you. You become the quiet one, the listener, the one who doesn't say much. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've trained yourself not to say it. And the more it happens, the easier it becomes to let it happen again. Until one day, you don't even try anymore. And this doesn't happen once, it becomes who you are. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain isn't trying to make you confident. It's trying to keep you safe. That's its main job. Not to help you express yourself, not to help you stand out, but to protect you from anything that feels like a threat. And the thing is, your brain doesn't only react to real danger, it reacts to feelings too. That awkward moment when everyone went quiet after you spoke, that time someone laughed, that time you felt ignored or shut down. To your brain, those moments matter because they felt bad. And anything that feels bad gets marked. Not with words, but with a signal. Avoid this next time. So every time speaking up led to discomfort, even a small one, your brain stored it quietly, without asking you, without announcing it. It just kept track. And over time, a pattern started forming. Speaking up equals risk. Staying quiet equals relief. And your brain chose relief. Because to your brain, emotional pain and physical pain aren't that different. That tight feeling in your chest, that drop in your stomach, that heat in your face. It all registers as something to avoid. So instead of pushing you forward, your brain pulls you back. Not because you're weak, not because you lack something, but because it learned. It learned that silence reduces the chance of feeling that discomfort again. So, silence became a strategy. A quiet one, a hidden one, but a powerful one. Every time you held back, you felt a small sense of safety. Nothing went wrong. No awkward moment. No judgment. And that feeling reinforced the habit. Your brain thought, good choice, do that again. So you did. Again, and again, and again. Until it stopped feeling like a decision. Now, it's automatic. You don't sit there and think, I'm choosing to stay quiet. It just happens. Your thoughts slow down, your voice fades, and the moment passes, all without you fully realizing why. And the most important part? None of this means something is wrong with you. It means something worked. It means your brain did exactly what it's designed to do. Protect you. Even if that protection now holds you back. Because in the beginning, staying quiet helped you avoid discomfort. But over time, it also kept you from being heard, from being seen, from being understood. And yet, your brain doesn't know that part. It's still following the same old rule. Silence is safer. So you didn't become quiet. You adapted. Here's the pattern most people never notice. It doesn't feel like a pattern when you're inside it. It just feels like life. But if you slow it down, if you really look at it, you'll start to see the loop. First, you stay quiet. Not in a dramatic way, not like you made a big decision. Just small moments. You hold back a comment. You let someone else talk. You decide it's not worth it. It feels harmless. But then something else happens. People start to overlook you. Not because they don't like you, not because they're against you, but because they can only respond to what they hear. And if they don't hear you, they don't think of you. They don't ask for your opinion. They don't expect you to speak. They don't turn to you in conversations. And slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, you become less visible, less involved, less present. And that part hurts more than you expect. Because deep down, you know you have something to say. You know you could add value. You know you're not empty. But the room doesn't see that. So what happens next? You start to feel less confident. Not all at once, but gradually. You begin to doubt yourself. Maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe what I say doesn't matter. Maybe I'm just not good at speaking. And the more you think like that, the more real it feels, until it starts shaping how you act. So the next time you're in a moment to speak, you hesitate even more. You second guess even faster. You hold back even longer. And then you stay even quieter. Not just because of the situation, but because of how you now see yourself. And just like that, the loop continues. You stay quiet, people overlook you, you feel less confident, you become even quieter. And the cycle repeats. Again and again and again. And the hardest part? Each round makes the next one stronger. Because every time you stay quiet, you lose a little bit of momentum, a little bit of ease, a little bit of that natural flow you once had. So the next time feels heavier, more pressure, more overthinking, more resistance, until even the smallest moment feels like too much. And this is where most people get stuck. Not because they can't speak, but because starting again feels so difficult. Because the less you speak, the harder it becomes to start. It's like your voice gets further away from you. Like there's a gap between what you think and what you say. And every time you don't cross that gap, it grows a little wider. Until one day, it doesn't just feel like hesitation anymore. It feels like who you are. But it's not who you are. It's just a pattern, one that's been repeating for longer than you realized. But this pattern didn't come from nowhere. There are deeper reasons behind it. Quiet ones, hidden ones, the kind that shape you without you noticing. If you look closely, you'll start to see them. The first one is fear of judgment. At some point, you learned that being seen means being evaluated. That when you speak, people don't just hear your words, they judge them. They judge how you sound, how confident you seem, how smart or awkward or different you appear. And once that idea settles in, speaking stops feeling simple. It starts feeling like a performance, like you're being watched, measured, compared. So instead of just saying what's on your mind, you start trying to get it right. You filter your thoughts. You adjust your tone. You try to sound a certain way. And if it doesn't feel perfect, you don't say it at all. Because in your mind, it's safer to be silent than to be judged. The second reason is past experiences. Not big dramatic ones necessarily, but small moments that stayed with you. Maybe you spoke up once and someone cut you off. Maybe you shared something and it was ignored, like it didn't matter. Maybe someone laughed or corrected you or made you feel like what you said wasn't good enough. And in that moment, something shifted. You didn't just hear their reaction, you felt it. And your mind remembered. Not the exact words, but the feeling. That drop in your stomach, that urge to disappear, that quiet thought, I shouldn't have said anything. So the next time you were in a similar moment, you held back. Just a little, then a little more, until holding back became your default. The third reason is overthinking. Your mind doesn't let things pass easily. It slows everything down. A simple sentence becomes a long process. You think of what to say, then how to say it, then how it might sound, then how someone might react. You run through different versions, trying to find the perfect one. But the problem is, there is no perfect version. And while you're searching for it, the moment moves on. So nothing comes out. Not because you had nothing to say, but because your mind wouldn't let it be simple. And all of this builds on itself. The fear of being judged, the memory of past moments, the habit of overthinking. They all point in one direction. Stay quiet. And the worst part? It's not the overthinking. It's not the hesitation. It's not even the moments you stay quiet. It's what other people see because of it. Because people don't see your thoughts. They don't hear the conversations happening in your head. They don't know how many times you almost spoke. They don't feel the effort it takes just to form the words. They only see your silence. And silence is easy to misunderstand. When you don't speak, people don't assume you're thinking deeply. They don't assume you're holding back something meaningful. They assume there's nothing there. So they move on. They talk over you. They stop asking for your opinion. Not because they want to ignore you, but because from their view, there's nothing to respond to. And slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, you become invisible. You're there, but not really included. You're present, but not really noticed. You listen to conversations, watch moments pass, see opportunities come and go, and somehow, you're always on the outside of them. Not because you don't belong, but because your voice isn't part of what people can see. And over time, this starts to change how you see yourself. You start to question your value. Maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe I don't have much to offer. Maybe I'm better off just staying quiet. But that's not the truth. The truth is, people are responding to what's visible, not what's real. They're reacting to your silence, not your thoughts. They're judging the absence of your voice, not the depth of your mind. And that creates a gap, a painful one, between who you are and how you're seen. Because inside, there's more thoughts, more opinions, more ideas you never shared. But outside, none of that exists. So people assume you have nothing to say, even when you have everything to say. And the longer this continues, the more it shapes your identity. Not just in their eyes, but in yours too. You stop seeing yourself as someone with a voice. You stop expecting yourself to speak. You settle into the background. Not because that's where you belong, but because it's where you've learned to stay. And that's the part that hurts the most. Not being loud, not being heard, not being seen for who. After a while, you stop trying. Not all at once, not like you made a clear decision. It just fades. You stop raising your hand. You stop jumping into conversations. You stop fighting that internal resistance. Because it feels easier not to. Easier to stay in your head. Easier to let moments pass. Easier to avoid that feeling altogether. And slowly, you start explaining it to yourself. I'm just a quiet person. I've always been like this. I'm not the type to talk much. It sounds harmless, even comforting, like you figured yourself out. But look closer. That's not personality. That's a pattern you repeated so many times, it started to feel permanent. Because the more you do something, the more it becomes automatic. And the more automatic it becomes, the more it feels like you. You stayed quiet once, then again, then again. And over time, your brain stopped seeing it as a choice. It started seeing it as identity. This is who I am. But that's not how identity starts. Identity isn't something you're born with fully formed. It's built, moment by moment, action by action, choice by choice. What you do repeatedly becomes what you believe about yourself. So if you repeatedly hold back, you start believing you're someone who has nothing to say. If you repeatedly stay silent, you start believing you're someone who isn't meant to speak. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. And familiarity feels real. That's the trap. You confuse what you've practiced with who you are. You confuse adaptation with identity. But if you're honest, if you really look at it, there are moments that don't fit that story. Moments when you did speak freely. Moments when your words came out naturally. Moments when you didn't overthink and everything felt easy. Those moments matter because they prove something. They prove this isn't fixed. This isn't permanent. This isn't some unchangeable part of you. It's something that was built through repetition, which means it can be rebuilt the same way. Because identity isn't locked in. It follows what you do most. And for a long time, you've been practicing silence. Not because it's who you are, but because it's what you learned to repeat. So, how do you break it? Not by waiting to feel confident. Because that moment rarely comes. You don't suddenly wake up one day and feel completely ready, completely sure, completely free of doubt. That's not how this works. Speaking up isn't about confidence. It's about your tolerance for discomfort. That's the shift. Because the discomfort doesn't disappear first. It shows up every time. That slight tension in your chest, that hesitation in your mind, that voice that says, wait, not now. And most of the time, that's the moment you stop. But what if you didn't? What if you understood that feeling isn't a signal to stay quiet? It's just a signal that you're stepping into something unfamiliar. Because right now, your brain is trained to pull you back at that exact point. Right before you speak. Right before you take the risk. Right before you're seen. So the goal isn't to remove that feeling. It's to move before it shuts you down. Before the overthinking kicks in. Before the doubt builds up. Before the moment disappears. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act a little earlier than you usually do. That's it. Not perfectly, not confidently, just slightly sooner. And it doesn't have to be big. You don't need to suddenly become loud or dominate conversations or say something impressive. Start small. Say one thing, a short comment, a simple thought, a question. Even if your voice feels shaky, even if the sentence isn't perfect, even if you think, that didn't sound great, say it anyway. Because that's where the shift happens. Not in your thoughts, but in your actions. Every time you speak, even in a small way, you interrupt the old pattern. You show your brain something new. That wasn't dangerous. That didn't go as bad as I thought. I can do that again. And slowly, that old rule starts to weaken. Silence doesn't feel as necessary. The hesitation doesn't feel as strong. And speaking starts to feel a little more natural. Not because you waited for confidence, but because you built it. One small moment at a time. That's how this changes. Not all at once, but gradually. Through repetition in a different direction. Because your voice doesn't grow in your head. It grows when you use it. Your voice grows the more you use it, not before. Remember this. You were never the quiet one. You were never born to sit in the background, to hold your thoughts in, to watch life happen instead of being part of it. That's not where this started. There was a time before the hesitation, before the overthinking, before the silence felt automatic, when your voice was just yours. No pressure, no fear, no second guessing every word. You spoke because you had something to say, and that was enough. But somewhere along the way, that changed. Not in one big moment, but in small ones. Moments that taught you, quietly, repeatedly, that silence felt safer. Safer than being judged, safer than being ignored, safer than risking that uncomfortable feeling again. So you adapted, you adjusted, you protected yourself. And over time, that protection became a habit. Then the habit became a pattern. And the pattern started to feel like who you are. But it was never who you are. It was just what you learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. Not instantly, not perfectly, but gradually, in the same way it was built. Through small moments, through repeated actions, through choosing something different, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because every time you speak, even when it's not perfect, even when your voice feels unsure, you're rewriting that pattern. You're showing yourself that your voice isn't something to hide, that being seen isn't something to fear, that the risk you've been avoiding isn't as dangerous as it once felt. And slowly, that old belief begins to loosen. The one that told you to stay quiet. The one that made silence feel safe. Until one day, you don't feel that same pull to hold back. You don't feel that same weight before speaking. You just speak. Not because everything is perfect, but because you stopped waiting for it to be. Because you remembered something important. This was never who you were. It was just something you learned. And now, you can choose something else. So be honest. How many times have you stayed quiet when you wanted to speak? Not because you had nothing to say, but because something inside you stopped you. How many moments passed where you could have shared your thoughts, your ideas, your real self, but you held it in? And what did it cost you? Missed opportunities? connections that never fully formed? Being misunderstood or completely overlooked? Or maybe something deeper, the feeling of not being seen, not being heard, not being known for who you really are. Think about that. Because this isn't just about speaking more. It's about what your silence has been taking from you without you even realizing it. And more importantly, how much longer you're willing to let that continue. So if this felt familiar, if this felt like it was describing you, then maybe it's time to do something different. Not all at once, just one small moment at a time. One sentence, one thought, one choice to speak before you talk yourself out of it. And if you're ready to start that, comment voice. Not for anyone else, but as a reminder to yourself that you're done staying silent when you have something to say. Hit the subscribe button to stay with me. There's more coming.